You may have heard of microbeads, but what about microfibres? These tiny shreds of fabric are not only clogging waterways, they're contaminating our food chain. National Science reporter Jake Sturmer has tonight's special report.
It's a stunning morning at Sydney's Bondi Beach, and helping make sure this place stays picture perfect are dedicated locals like Cedric Amoyles, who's been picking up bags of rubbish for years.
In the summer it's up to 3 bags full, and in the winter it's normally about 3/4 of a big bag.
Still quite a bit.
Still quite a bit.
And while Cedric picks up the bits of plastic he can see, it's the ones he can't that have scientists very worried. This is the inside of a washing machine, and it's in here that thousands of tiny bits of plastic shed from clothing and flow straight into our waterways.
Over the last 50, 60 years, we've seen a 450% increase. And if you actually look at the amount of microplastic in the environment that's made up of clothing fibres themselves, over 85% of that material are clothing fibres.
They're called microfibres, and they're in every bit of clothing we wear. Fleeces are especially bad, and as researcher Mark Brown puts on another load, he's testing whether filters in washing machines could stop the particles from going down the drain. This is what those particles look like. How big is that?
It's thinner than a human hair. It's micrometers in size, nanometers in sort of width. And so we're finding these types of fibres everywhere. We've shown that particles of plastic this size can accumulate in the cells and tissues of wildlife and humans, and also that can give rise to health problems.
Microplastics have been linked to inflammation and fibrosis, which is like internal scarring. Dr. Brown is a world-leading expert. He first raised concerns in 2011, publishing a study that found high concentrations of microfibres in waterways all around the world. While in that time, big brands have introduced natural fibres, Mark Brown says there's not enough evidence to suggest they're any better.
At the moment, we're seeing an awful lot of companies marketing themselves as eco-friendly, but they're not actually doing anything significant to actually understand the problem or reduce the problem.
I kind of like to give the fashion industry a little bit of slack in that it's relatively new. They don't really necessarily have a blueprint for how to do this.
In the world of fast fashion, where designers churn out weekly collections, Clara Vuletic says the impact of microfibres has previously just been an afterthought.
Most brands, when they're trying to think about their toxic impacts, they're actually thinking about what happens at the production phase of textiles, and the microfibre issue is actually, it occurs in the use phase when customers are washing their fibres. So a lot of brands and industry don't really think about the impacts.
The reason this is such a complex issue to address is we can't stop wearing clothes. Washing machine manufacturers could install filters in all their products. Clothing makers could invest in more research. But right now, scientists like Mark Brown say no one's seriously stepping up to take responsibility.
Back at the beach where all these microfibres ultimately end up, environmentalists are just trying to make sure people know about the problem. They're hoping that by raising awareness, they'll get as much support as they did to phase out microbeads from cosmetics.
Once the community was in uproar around that, we did see some pretty rapid moves there in terms of corporate responsibility and phasing them out. I feel like we are almost there. This microfibres issue is only a few years old in the public domain, at least.
And in the meantime, people like Cedric are doing what they can.
I say to myself, that which we take for granted, other people pray for every day.